President William Ruto has reiterated his commitment to stop violence of any form in the country.
Mambo ya vita na kupiganisha watu, hapana, haiwezi kuendelea tena kwa hii Kenya. Hiyo tu tukubaliane. And whatever it takes, we will mobilize whatever resource to make sure that we secure the lives of Kenyans, their property, their businesses, and make sure that Kenya is firmly on the foundation of a peaceful nation.
These, he alluded to the demonstrations that had been organized earlier by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition that saw hundreds wounded and lost lives.
Violence undermines our democracy. Violence undermines our development. Violence undermines our prosperity and our standing as a nation in the community of nations. So we cannot allow it. Hiyo ingine tuongee.
The president was speaking during the opening of the Open University of Kenya in Makueni County.
In the new funding model at the university, we made the deliberate decision that students from vulnerable families must get 100% scholarship, at least to make sure that those who manage to go that far never drop out because they were not able to pay for this or the other. But we're going to work backwards. And I've already told Waziri Machogu to think. It cannot continue like that. We cannot continue to have the children of a few Kenyans going up the education ladder. We must make sure that the children of all Kenyans have equal opportunity to.
In what many Kenyans perceive as a promising endeavor, the Kenya Kwanza wing and opposition team agreed to talk to end violent demonstrations.
Ile panga nilipatiwa pale ni ya kuchunga mali ya Wakenya. Mtu yote atakuja hapo na wizi atakipata. And I have given very firm instructions. There is no two ways about it.
Kenya Kwanza government went ahead to unveil its 5 members who will represent it in the proposed fresh talks with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition.
Sasa sisi tuko tayari kupeleka jamaa wetu.
The delegation will be led by the National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah of Kenya Kwanza, Aaron Cheruiyot, Cecily Mbarire, Hassan Omar, Catherine Wambilianga as the other members.
Have a duty and an obligation as a political class to smoothen the way for business and make sure that we are efficient.
Ruto's government and opposition agreed to form a joint committee which aims to resolve their differences after a series of opposition protests over the cost of living and tax increases. Opposition coalition Azimio la Umoja and the government coalition led by William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza issued separate statements on Saturday confirming the talks.
Niliongea na kiongozi wa upinzani na viongozi wa upinzani na nikawaambia ya kwamba sisi ni nchi ya demokrasia. Sisi ni nchi ambayo inasimamia katiba na sheria.
That indeed there was a meeting chaired by His Excellency Honorable Obasanjo, and Baba accepted to appear in that meeting because of his respect for His Excellency Honorable Obasanjo. That meeting did not conclude on any issues. It was a meeting to agree on when to hold talks and how to hold the talks.
Joint statement by both parties said the committee would be comprised of 4 members of parliament, 4 members from outside parliament, and the majority and minority leaders from the National Assembly. Both sides agreed that opposition to a controversial finance bill signed into law in June should be decided in court where it is being challenged. On Friday, an appeals court lifted a suspension placed on a law that will double the value-added tax on fuel and introduced a new housing levy.
They are against these taxation measures.
This comes as President William Ruto has said he will not discuss the cost of living with the opposition leader Raila Odinga because the government is already addressing the matter.
Mimi nataka niwaeleze mambo ya gharama ya maisha iko kwa manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza. Pale ndio tuko na mpango mzima.
The president, who acknowledged having met Odinga with former Nigerian president, and his government has already put in place necessary interventions to address challenges facing Kenyans as part of his manifesto.
Sisi ni inchi ya demokrasia.
He said he was on course to producing surplus food this year due to the government's deliberate plan to subsidize the production. The president observed the protest marked by the destruction of property and loss of lives, which will not curtail the price of living. He warned the opposition to keep off violent demonstrations. Meanwhile, President William Ruto's top men are not opposed to his talks with opposition leader Raila Odinga, saying they will not serve to detail the government agenda.
We may talk, we are allowed to talk, the president has every right to talk, but do not cheat Kenyans that we are in an international crisis.
Rais, tunakuomba sasa yawe waziwazi.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and his Senate counterpart Amason Kingi have warned the president that talks with the opposition leader are a waste of time because he has not even recognized him as president.
You pay attention to the interests and needs of Kenyans. Winston Churchill said you'll never finish your race if you stop to throw stones at every barking dog.
Ingekuwa mazungumzo kati ya Mheshimiwa Ruto na Mheshimiwa Raila inaweza kupunguza bei ya unga, tungemshurutisha rais akae na Mheshimiwa Raila, lakini tunajua wazi.
Kingi too said the talks agreed upon during a meeting between the president and the opposition leader will derail the government agenda.
Hata hivi leo Mheshimiwa Ruto na Mheshimiwa Raila waende State House wakazungumze. Ukitoka hapo nenda duka lolote utakuta bei ni ile ile.
Reporting for Maisha Prime, my name is Sandra Kidamani.